What's up, everyone? It is Deanna Reese Williams, and I'm here to talk about the whole purpose of doing a digital vision board. And so I'm actually going to share with you guys my personal digital vision board and who were the two ladies that inspired me to do it, and just kind of exploring a different way of being able to take my goals and make it more visual. So typically in the past, I've always liked the idea of vision boards, but to be honest with you, I just typically write my goals down and that was it. And it was funny because I was messaging with Dee LaShore over at LaShore TV, and she's like, "Girl, don't you just do like a digital one?" And it's the funny part about her saying that is that I was watching one of my favorite GLP-1 channels with, oh my gosh, I hope I say her name right. It's Traces of Twan's Life. She is just like the most loving, sweet, kind-hearted person. If you're looking for her channel, check it out if you're just looking for motivation. But she was the first one that kind of mentioned it. And then I was having conversation with Dee on like messaging. And what Miss Twan was saying is that she went on to Canva and made a whole vision board. And they actually did, she and herself and several other ladies doing GLP-1 medications did some sort of like digital visual vision board together, like they were all on live. And so I thought that was really fascinating. And once she said Canva, I was like, okay, I need to look. I need to do some searching here, because for me, I would prefer it to be digital than a paper one. And the reason being is I just find that even having a paper one, I'm like, well, what do I do with this after a year? And so I just, from an environmental perspective, I kind of struggled with it. But also, I'm so used to honestly just writing out my goals and then just tracking them quarterly and going from there. So I did want to see what AI had to say about this whole visual digital boards. And so according to ChatGPT, of course, I have to cite my source because these are not my original thoughts. But number one, it provides clarity and focus. Number two, convenience and accessibility. Three, visualization and motivation. And number four, creativity and personalization. And then number five, alignment with modern lifestyles. And then number six, manifestation and reflection. The whole manifestation, like that's not even a word I would say. That's how you know it's ChatGPT. But I just wanted to give you guys just the highlight points of it. And for me, and filling in the whole clarity and focus and actually giving more of my own description of it, I'd rather do that. But I just wanted some help just to like kind of focus myself in. So when I started working on my vision board, first off, it took me a couple of days to kind of map out what type of vision board that I want. I knew that a lot of my vision board was more individual in terms of some personal goals, but also some professional goals that I have. And so I needed something that I could have enough images that I could put on the vision board itself to give me the clarity and focus that I was looking for. And so I also wanted to be able to take this board and to be able to like basically put it anywhere, whether I wanted to have it as a screensaver on my phone or on a desktop, a laptop, tablet, whatever. I wanted to make sure that I could see this digital board that I took the time to research and do, that I could see it anywhere. And so it took me a couple of days looking through Canva, and I finally settled in on one last night, meaning Sunday night. And from there, and of course I'm going to show it to you guys. Don't you worry, you guys will get to see the vision board itself. But once I started picking images, it was like I could see it all coming together. And I'm not quite used to having a vision board for a screensaver. So part one was creating the actual vision board digitally. And then part two, it was making it my screensaver, but also changing out my current screensavers, which anybody that knows me, my main screensaver was my grandmother and I. She's no longer with us. But for a long time, I was like, but I want to change it and put my grandmother and then have my Nana and I, and then my mom and I. Like these are like the three leading ladies of my life, essentially. And so I had to teach myself how to do that last night. And then I also had, so there's the screensaver and then there's the lock screen. So my lock screen, okay, here was the problem. Y'all know I'm a Bruno Mars fan, okay? So Bruno Mars was my lock screen. And my mother would be like, you can't figure this out. And I'm like, I did this so long ago. And when you know how it is, you update your phone, there's so many bells and whistles. And I just was like, I don't have a reason to change it. I want to change it, but nothing was pressing me to change it. So I learned Bruno is no longer my lock screen. He is in my heart, and that's all that really matters. And I'm looking at two posters of him in my office. So I'm like, what more does a girl need? Okay, calm down. So, anyhow, now I have the three leading ladies. They're on my lock screen, and then my vision board is my actual screensaver. So, as far as convenience and accessibility, I just said it. I wanted to be able to have it as screensavers. That was kind of the point. What's the point of taking the time to make a vision board if you can't actually see it? That's kind of how I see it. So, I want to be able to interface with it pretty much every day. I mean, that's again for someone who's very intentional about making her goals, to me, just to visually see it every day, there's something different about that. There's something really different about just being able to actually see it. I've noticed that just in less than 24 hours, just opening up my phone or just opening up my tablet, which I'm reading from my Samsung tablet. I like to put in that shameless plug every time I'm doing a video because one day, I've been such a loyal customer of Samsung. They're going to sponsor me. I don't know when that's going to happen, but we're going to speak that into existence. But, anyways, the convenience of being able to basically see your vision board every single day. And here's the deal, you don't have to do it like a digital one. All I'm saying is find a way that you can see your goals and your vision every single day. Whether you write it down, whether you have it digitally, whatever works best for you, that's what you should do. So, as far as three, visualization and motivation, again, I just keep restating the same thing. Visually, I wanted to be reminded of like why I'm working towards something. So, a great example of this, a great example for those of you that have been following me along since October of last year of 2024, you guys know I started my 75-day challenge that went into mid December. I think my last day was December 20th. And you know what? There were probably like two times in that challenge that I really needed to remember, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this challenge? Not so much the movement part, but it was the paper, because you will experience some level of fatigue when you are working through your goals. Whether you're doing a challenge, whether you're doing a project, whatever it is, there's going to come times where you're going to question your why. And actually, I filmed a video on that. I need to make sure that I put that up here somehow, one way or another. And basically saying that you need to remember why you're doing this. What is the point of doing this stuff? Why am I doing a 75-day challenge? Why am I getting my doctorate? What is the point of me working in higher education? Why do I want to reopen Outback Learning LLC? Why do I want to be in a book club? What's the point? You really need to remember your why and what is the purpose of doing these things. And so to me, being able to have the visual, I'm constantly reminded why I'm doing it. So hopefully when I hit those moments of like really hitting a wall, I will feel less stressed and I'll just look at my phone or look at my tablet screensaver and say, "Oh yeah, that's why. That's why, because you want to start a nonprofit. That's why. And you need to finish this doctorate. That's why. Oh, okay. Yeah, because you want to help people. That's the point." So, all right, creativity and personalization. That was number 4. And so, again, it took me a few days to figure out which Canva template I liked. And I went with something that was very simplistic, but also enough to where it could capture my creativity and get the point across. I just wanted something that looked simple, not super busy, but just enough for me to remember the whole point of like creating this thing. I do think creatively, because I didn't have to build the template from scratch. I mean, if you want to do that, go for it. Go for it. But I am very much a person that likes to be efficient in whatever I'm doing. And I just feel like there are people that are very creative when it comes to digital tools. And I don't have the time nor the bandwidth to be like, I'm going to build this from scratch. I'm totally fine with using a template that is being provided to me so then I can focus on the creative part for me, which was finding the right visuals that I wanted to put in for each one of my little pictures. And then that was it. It was super simple. Once I figured out which template was best for me, it was super simple. Of course, alignment with modern day lifestyle. I have to kind of read the description that ChatGPT put because it's kind of interesting to me. Here's the thing: I'm in academia and I deal with a lot of students doing a lot of things on AI. There's nothing wrong with AI as long as you use it as a tool. As long as I'm not like using it in research, that's a whole nother story. But I think the definition, because I would have never thought to think of this from a digital age era or this is like a modern way of doing things. I just would have never kind of looked at it from that perspective. But what ChatGPT said, a digital format aligns with how many people consume content in a digital age. Sharing your vision board with accountability partners, friends, or mentors becomes easier. I never really looked at it from that way. I like the convenience. And I think Dee and I, when we were messaging yesterday or the other day, the other reality is like magazines are not really a thing. Like I have a subscription with Essence, but I don't really want to cut the things out of the magazine. You know what I mean? So from a digital perspective, I like the convenience. It is nice that I will be able to share it with other people. Clearly I can share it with you all, but even if I had a paper one, it would work just as well. And there are plenty of YouTubers that I've watched over the years that do a paper one, and I think those are just as gorgeous as doing something digital. I think for me, because so much of my life is it's Zoom, it's Canvas, it's commuting, it's digital. Like I am very much in a digital world. So it just didn't make sense for me to do something on paper when I needed to be more transit because I also do enjoy traveling as well. So, all right, manifestation and reflection. I'm going to lean more into the reflection part. So creating the vision board for me, I feel like each quarter I can look at all of the different photos that I inserted into my vision board and kind of reflect and think about what's going well for that quarter and what do I need to focus on or shift into the next quarter to make sure that this particular goal is not being left behind. And I think that's really critical to kind of think about when you are creating these types of vision boards is that you really need to take a moment to reflect about these things. So something I plan to do each quarter during this journey is I'm going to share with you guys how I'm doing on my actual goals, at least quarterly. I guess I will talk about them. I don't want to say weekly, but as they come, if that makes sense. Or whatever project I'm focusing on, you'll hear about what's going on. But there's going to be other things that I have not talked about in this channel. I kind of talk about a little bit about me being an entrepreneur, but you guys have really gotten to know me as someone in academia and being a student. But I think really getting to know this other part of me as an entrepreneur, which I have a video coming out Thursday, talking about my book signing event that I attended in November. So, but I plan to just kind of share updates as they come along, but then I will do a more intentional, like vision board update, quarterly update with you guys. And something else that I've seen too is that people apparently do like quarterly vision boards. I don't know if I'm gonna do all of that. I like the idea, but I'm like, I think we're good. We're on step one. We have the digital vision board. We don't need to do anything else. So, anyways, I'm going to share with you guys what my board actually looks like. I think I'm going to go to Canva and share from there. And I feel like I'm talking to my students in class, which is kind of funny. Where I'm like, all right, guys, hold on a second. Let me pull this up. I feel like I'm giving that vibe right now. Okay, so this is my vision board on Canva. Ta-da! I just love it. And I'm going to show you guys what this looks like as a screensaver. I have to share it this way too. And actually, I went with a lighter pink, I think. But I'm going to just talk you guys through it. And by the time I put up this whole screen, you guys are going to see the vision board like probably right here. I'm pointing. And so you guys will be a part of what I'm basically doing for my vision. So in the center of it, this is me when I graduated with my second master's, my master's in early childhood education and special education. I did not walk the stage when I graduated with my first master's. By choice, it was a choice. I decided to travel to San Diego instead with my two cousins and my great niece at the time. And so it was really important for me to walk the second time. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not a person that typically, I don't know, I don't like, I have the education, but I don't have it hung up anywhere in my office or at work. But I know that I'm to a point in my life that I recognize what I'm doing is very significant. Um, Obviously for myself, because I've been able to go places in my life that I never imagined, but there's a huge significance to it in terms of like, I have a lot of great nieces and nephews that look up to me. It means a lot to my grandparents, my parents, my husband, just different people in my life. So I've learned that sometimes I will do things because I feel like I have to do it for other people. And not so much like anyone's forcing me to do it. It's not that kind of energy. But sometimes when you're the one like trailing that like trailblazing, and even though you may not want to be in the limelight, sometimes you got to be in that light so other people know that they could do it. That's the point of what I'm going to say. And I have to say this too. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the women in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could go on for days. But my point is, when you have one grandmother that only had up to, I think, a third grade education, my Nana graduated high school. My mom graduated with her bachelor's about 10, 15 years ago. And for me to be standing here, like I have two master's degrees and I'm getting a doctorate, like I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for these women. So that's my point. Okay, enough of my soapbox. My other part of my vision board, you'll see this little image, like I'm not going to say left or right side of the corner, but you'll see an image of a cactus. And that's actually my logo for my outdoor nature-based preschool program called Outback Learning LLC. And then you'll see another image saying coming soon. And then you'll see this like tiny little image. It looks like people, you probably can't even see that, but basically I want to be working with children again. I want to be able to expand the program, and not even just expand it. I want to just start it again because it started it 2019 and 2020 happened. So we've been trying to revive this thing back since I was more intentional last year, but I've been talking about bringing it back since probably 2022, like 3 years. So, all right. So next to that, you'll see a whole bunch of like images of me as an indie author. You'll see my character, Destiny, Sweet Potato and Mud Pies, Tucson Festival of Books, I did this thing called Nano Writer, which is huge. It happens like in November. I did not participate this past year because I was in my own Nano Writer because I was working on chapter 2 and 3 of my doctorate. I didn't have time to be writing children's books or a novel for that matter. But I want to be able to participate in that again. It was really fun. And yeah, so I want to definitely add more books. I have 2 books to my series. I have Sweet Potato Mud Pies and Picture Day. And my goal is to be able to publish book number 3 this year. So that's going to happen. I've already been in conversation with my editor, publisher, illustrator. She knows who she is. And we're definitely be working on that this year. So I'm really excited. But part of it is y'all know I gotta finish the degree. That's what it boils down to. So anyhow, also podcasts. I made sure that I like took the time. I have like the whole podcast logo. Like it's ready. It's ready. I've been ready to come back and talk. Clearly, I got a lot to say. So, and I was saying in the video this morning in my weekly vlog, one of my favorite YouTubers, one of the youth, I'm telling you, for those of you that are 40 and up, okay, because we the 40 and up crowd and you're on YouTube, let me tell you something. I'm going to put you on some game. There are a lot of people our age telling us like, oh, do this, do that when it comes to YouTube, which is great because some of these recommendations have been great. I would not have had the level of subscribership if it wasn't for someone my age or roughly my age that's like, dude, do some promotions. Bet I've got the subscribership. There was another channel that recommended going live. That's how you can grow with your hours and so on and so forth. But let me tell you something. There are, I call them kids. They're not kids. They're all turning 30 this year. There's Remy Ashton, there's Shelby Church, there's Monica Church, and Alicia Marie. All of these kids, because I'm like 10, 12 years older than most of them, maybe even 13. They all came on YouTube like a decade plus ago. 10 or 11 years ago. I think some of them might be in their 12th year. So they came into YouTube kind of like a lot of us getting into TikTok or Instagram, but we were all adults at that point. We didn't grow up with this stuff. But let me tell you, these women know what they're doing. They have a main channel and then they have a vlog channel. And obviously, you have to remember that the algorithm was clearly different, but there is still, they're not giving advice. They're literally, but this is my advice to people. If I'm going to give YouTube advice, pay attention to the people that are already successful. That's my point. There might be something that they're doing that you want to implement or you don't want to do or whatever. There's a couple of other channels that I've been following since 2016, 70 Pounds of Life. She lost over 70 pounds. She actually lost over 100 pounds naturally. She's amazing. She's just come back on the scene and I know she's going to do great. I also went through a season of my life and I still kind of like have these moments, but I really enjoy those cleaning motivation videos. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. I just enjoy them. So one channel that I've been watching her for years, Bits of Brie, is one of them. Clutterbug is another one. There's all kinds of, listen, there are a lot of people out there, a lot of people doing informational or living their life or whatever. But let me tell you something. They have already laid the blueprint. Literally, they've all laid the blueprint. So just pay attention. I'm just naming these channels. I'm not going to tag them or anything like in the bottom. So I hope y'all wrote them down because I'm not trying to like, not clout chasing or anything like that. I just don't know. I'm just thinking like if you're thinking about going into YouTube, check out some of these other young folks because they've already figured it out. And so, and we can learn from them. And I've learned a lot from them. I've learned a lot. So anyways, my point, Shelby Church hopped on to her channel. She had been talking about doing a podcast channel doing a podcast for a long time. Her and her sister actually did a podcast and basically I don't know. I guess they just thought like, this is not my thing. But Shelby wanted to do it. And so last night when I went to watch her channel on TV, lo and behold, Shelby done she done put a whole podcast episode on YouTube. And I thought, wow, like, wow. And so she said, part of her struggle with doing a podcast was that she was so used to like editing and just doing all kinds of stuff. And so she was just like, guys, I got on my camera and I'm just pressing record and I'm going to go ahead and do this podcast. And you know what? It was a great episode. I would listen to it. Obviously I had it playing on the TV, so I was actually doing my vision board at the time when I was listening to it, but I'm looking forward to hearing more of her content because sometimes, I mean, she does great visuals. Actually, her and her sister, her twin sister Monica, they're both very talented when it comes to editing and all of that, but they both have very different approaches. So it's really fascinating to see. But yeah, so I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, should I just record directly on YouTube? What should I do? So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But the podcast, the DRW show, it's coming. It's coming. Of course, y'all know I joined a book club and I am going to, I don't want to say planner club, but planner meetup. Y'all saw me decorate my planner. Um, that is like one of several planners that I have. Don't judge me. But I like, I don't know. I tend to like to have things very separate so they are organized better for me. So I put pictures of planner stuff and books. Of course, I have the 75-day challenge. I have my intro for the YouTube channel. And then I also have my CrossFit as well, myself and some ladies from like the 6 a.m. class. And I also have another photo here. Oh, gardening. You guys don't know that I like to garden, but I do. I'm 41, but I jokingly say that I'm like 51, but really I'm like a 71-year-old lady. Seriously, I love to garden. Um, I also am going to do weekly vlogs, and then I also have travel, and I have my planner, and I also have like a image that says I'm a writer. Just a reminder that I am a writer. Right now, I'm heavy in the academic writing season, but I'm still a writer at heart. And I believe Dee over at LeSure TV is going to challenge us with a writing challenge, and I'm here for it, especially a creativity writing one. I feel like I need that in my life. I do. I don't know. When you're having to think from like a research or just like heavy, I don't know what's the word, not heavy thinking, but when you're constantly having to think and it's not in a creative way, you have to have outlets one way or another. And I would like to challenge myself in writing more creatively. I haven't, I've done more journaling and reflecting and writing the children's books. Like, that's all good. But I'm like, could I write a novel? Could I do that? Like, I don't know. So I feel like I've had things happen in my life to where I probably could write something, but I'm not sure. I'm not really confident in that area. So I also have two Bitmoji D images, and not D as in LeSure TV, D as in myself. One of them is her like marching with the alarm clock and she's in her pajamas. And the other one is her carrying a whole bunch of textbooks because I still am in academia and I still teach full time at a community college. And so there are still goals within that space that I'm like, I don't need to put that on here. Maybe I just make a separate vision board for like work and go from there. That might be better for me than to have, I just didn't really want to inundate this vision board with that. And then, of course, the alarm one, it's for two reasons. I struggle with, I want to be this morning person, but in reality, I don't know, getting like, I admire the fact that my husband can get up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday, with no issue. And on the weekend, he's up by 7. I'm like, what? I can't. Like, I feel like I'm in my second dream at 7 o'clock in the morning. And we're not even talking about 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm barely falling asleep at like 2:30. Don't let me be on vacation. Forget it. I'm practically going to sleep when he's getting up. It's out of control. So I really, and I've tried a lot of things. I'm too sensitive for melatonin, so please don't come in the comments like try this. No, 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 no. I'm very, very sensitive when it comes to medication and vitamins and all the things, so I can't go down that route. I have timers on lights. I have had I have alarms. I've done a lot of different things to kind of trigger my mind to go to bed. But part of what I've also had to learn, and it's not that I'm like doom and gloom, TikTok scrolling, it has nothing to do with that. It could be more or less like, let's just say, I have to be very careful about what I'm thinking about and what I'm doing in the last hour of me going to bed. This vision board thing was probably a really good idea for me to do. It was relaxing, it didn't require a lot of thinking, and I could just kind of space out. I have to be careful with journaling, and I almost have to be careful about listening to books. It's just a thing. So I am really trying to internally challenge myself with finding better ways of going to sleep and improving my sleep quality. I feel like this has been a lifetime journey for me, but I kind of need to have it on the vision board. My goal is I want to go to CrossFit at 8:30. And so that's pretty reasonable. I can get up by 7:20, 7:30, and be at CrossFit at 8:30 and still manage to get at least 5 to 6. I know I should probably have 7 or 8 hours of sleep, but I'm also the person that like once I go to sleep and I'm awake, I'm awake. 5 to 6 hours always seems to be good for me. If I get 7, that's a miracle. And if I do 8 or 9, I must be sick because I'm just that person. So I'm finding that perhaps going back to CrossFit at 8:30, even though I don't want to, I really don't want to, but I think it'll be better for me. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my whole entire vision board conversation. I look forward to hearing about you all's vision boards. Please type in the comment if you did some type of vision board, whether it was digital, on paper, or maybe you have it on a bulletin board. I would love to hear how you are going to be focusing on your goals this year and how you're going to hold yourself accountable. And also, I would love to hear from you guys if you're interested in me on what topics you would love for me to cover in a podcast. I'm just curious. I'm playing around with a lot of ideas, but I think it's best if I hear from the people. What do the people want to hear? And then from there, I can figure out where am I going to do my first recording. Who knows? It might happen during the 75-day challenge. We all know I'm going to go live every day. So I don't know. I'm thinking about doing weekly reflections about the 75-day challenge through podcasts. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. But anyways, have an amazing day, have an amazing night, and have a good morning. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.